You're very welcome to MongoDB TV. I'm Shane McAllister. I'm one of the leads on the developer relations team here at MongoDB. So I'm thrilled to have Pak Ting and Jackie Chan, co-founders of Votee. Votee builds enterprise-level AI applications from social listening tools to innovative language models, including their groundbreaking, and we'll hear more about this, Cantonese LLM. On today's episode, we're going to get a unique glimpse into the future of data-driven AI, featuring some live demos and some insights valuable for anyone who's an AI enthusiast, developers, and indeed business leaders alike. So with all that out of the way, let's get Jackie and Pak onto the stream. How are you both? You're very welcome.
Good. Thank you. Thanks for having
Shane.
us.
Excellent. Listen, it's great to have you. It's always interesting to have two guests. I'm delighted that you're right beside each other because this will give good interactions. The two of you can decide who's answering the various questions, etc. too. But before we get started, what I like to delve into is the background behind how you got to where you are today. So very swiftly and as succinct as possible, maybe Jackie, you could start us off. What's your career path to date? Where have you been? What have you done before Votee?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Shane. So I am a tech nerdy. So I start coding since like primary school as a student.
Right.
And then I also got into the university and I studied computer science. And then I also have my startup before, which is about game development.
Okay.
And then on and off, I found out that I love data and AI so much. Yeah. So I actually pursue further studies for the master degree. But eventually I dropped out because I love the entrepreneurial journey more, right? So
many entrepreneurs drop out because they so you're following a long line of very successful entrepreneurs and dropping out of the academic space, right?
It's not a good example to many people. I would recommend people to keep pursuing their studies, right? But like for me, I combine all my experiences about the research, about the entrepreneurial journey, and then also the love of data and AI. And so I started Votee with Pak and consult and pursue about the journey. Yeah.
Excellent. And Pak, what was your journey? Did you drop out of college as well too to pursue the entrepreneurial bone in your body?
No, I was kicked out of school actually, so maybe a little worse. But more seriously, I was born and raised in Toronto, and my early life I was heavily involved in campaigning in Toronto, and this was back in the 90s. And went to school, and then went to banking, went to capital markets. I've actually spent about 15, 20 years in banking, both in commercial to investment banking. I was in sales. And so during my career, I took a break to start a company, and Jackie and I met, and we started the company. I went back to banking again, I guess because wasn't able to raise capital, so that was the other source of income. And then 4 years ago, I came back out again full time and rejoined forces with Jackie, and here we are today.
Okay, so how did you both meet originally? Then what was that? 8 years ago or so?
No, 12 years. 12 years ago.
12.
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
Yeah. So quite a long time. We met I think at a hackathon. I'm not a coder, but I was there to just kind of experience the entrepreneurial sort of spirit. Okay. And Jackie obviously was the coder and hacker, and we met in the hackathon.
Excellent. I'd love to hear that because there's MongoDB do a lot of hackathons, and there's a kind of serendipity attached to a lot of hackathons because people think exactly as you say, Pak, that you needed to be a coder to turn up for a hackathon, but it's just not the case. It's like bring your ideas and then form groups and leverage each other's skills to try and do something. So that's amazing to hear that you originally met at a hackathon and what 10 to 12 years later you're you're in Votee together. Tell me a little bit about what Votee does and kind of what prompted you both to found Votee.
Maybe I'll quickly start first. So again, I mentioned I was in campaigning back in Toronto, and one of the things you had to do was you had to canvass for opinions. And the opinions then form policies, and policies then form sort of the society that governs society. So I thought that was a very old traditional way of getting feedback. And so I've always wanted to do something in big data. So that's how the name Votee came about. So vote with double E. And so that's the reason why, I went to entrepreneurship, to kind of make change through innovation. That's my story.
That's our story.
that was the music corporate for joining the hackathon. But yeah, that's how I met Jackie.
Excellent. So what does Votee solve in a nutshell? I know we're going to go through some demos, and I know there's a few different areas that Votee has products and does work in. So take us through those in a little bit of a high level. That there's always a reason why you given the backstory about campaigning their pack, and that's understandable that this is in this area. But what were you setting out to solve in founding Votee?
Maybe I'll quickly go first. I think, back then, it still is close to heart, which is if we can find out what people think, if we can find out sort of the foundations of sort of where people are heading to, sentiment, all that kind of stuff, we think that could power bigger change. Now, as of now, we've obviously pivoted into big sort of deep tech AI. And one of the things that we also found true is that in the AI world, there's AI haves and AI have-nots. And so our mission essentially is to build AI stacks for low resource language economies. So that includes Hong Kong, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, for instance, as well. So that's something that we want to solve. Africa is also our big sort of goal too in the future. But that's what we're trying to solve.
Yep.
Okay. I love that. The AI haves and the AI have-nots, and and obviously, look, it's very on topic what we're going to talk about today. For those that are familiar viewers of MongoDB TV, know that we didn't do a stream last week because there was a certain large election going on in the US. So, and I was amazed. This is an apolitical live stream. We're not going to talk about anything other than then the data-driven analysis that we saw in a lot of that kind of, the TV streams, etc., that came out. Is that the space that Votee is in, and understanding these demographics and these data as well too, and understanding the voters and the shifts and the sways?
Part of it. I mean, I think the voting demographics, can be fine. You can find correlations in almost anything, right? What they eat to where they live and all that kind of stuff. So I think part of it. Last week was obviously a very different thing, but solving this requires us understanding what people think and what they have to say as well. So that's the space we're also in as well.
Okay. So I know that when we were talking about the live stream and coming on and the various types, one of the things that came up was obviously the use of social listening to be able to look at various channels and understand those. Tell us a little bit more about that use case, and I suppose also maybe what sort of customers does Votee have in that space?
Yeah, so social listening is I think the last time I checked is a market of about 5 billion globally. So it's not like it's being used everywhere and not super prevalent. But it's becoming more and more of a thing now, I guess, given that this is a tool and we live our lives in social. And so the next big thing is, why don't we understand and listen to what people have to say? So that's what social listening does. We work with companies that, anything from if they make a campaign, they want to, listen socially to see if people are talking about it. Therefore, it checks the efficacy of the campaign, to what people are saying about their brand. That's what people care about a lot. There's a brand franchise. And so that's what social listening does. Now, your next question was, who do we work with? So we work with quasi-governments. We work with banks. We work with corporates. all these people who care about the brand would obviously find this very useful. Our social listening is based in Asia, and we've also incorporated the new buzz trend GPT. And so all that kind of stuff essentially, again, is to power brands to figure out what people have to say about them, to campaigns and so on and so forth.
Okay. Now, people, when they consider social listening, I suppose, are, hear things more on the political side than maybe on the brand side of like disinformation, etc. How do you filter out? You talk about social, anyone can post anything on any platform about their opinions, about their thoughts on things. How do you filter through that noise, for example? How does that work?
Right. So essentially what we do is to crawl all the data from different channels, could be from different social media and news sites, forums, etc. And then we use AI. Nowadays could be also generative AI, right?
Okay.
AI to do the classification, could be about the sentiment analysis, about the keywords that they mention, about the influence or the impact by the KOLs, etc. So do all these kind of analysis, and then we can find out the patterns so that for our subscribers, they can gain the insights.
Okay. So we're moving into the AI realm, and obviously, AI and machine learning and everything has been around for a long time, but really burst onto the public consciousness about 2 years ago, obviously with ChatGPT out there. But generative AI, I spend a lot of my time on the live streams discussing AI with clients and customers, etc. MongoDB obviously has vector search, so we've got a lot of AI customers ourselves. Talk to me a little bit about how that has changed things for Votee in the last couple of years, being able to leverage large language models, etc.
Sure. Let me start first because I have a story to tell. It's back to February last year. So it's after the inception of ChatGPT. And then in February last year, we have hundreds of corporate clients we work with already, right? And so by that time, every day I got tens of calls. They call me, and say, hey, Jackie, I know you're working on ChatGPT. And I said, no, we are not. We are just working on consumer intelligence. If you need voting, if you need market research, if you need social listening, you can come to me, right? But they said, no, Jackie, you are working on ChatGPT. Well, that's interesting, right? I haven't seen such a list in my life, right? And so I know they have a need on that. And so within 3 months, we've built the first enterprise-grade large language model platform in Hong Kong so that we can serve these corporate clients with, we call it retrieval augmented generation, which is essentially the knowledge base. And then they can put in their documents, question and answering documents. And then we build chatbots for them very quickly. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned there that, you got a lot of these requests, but you mentioned in 3 months you were able to put something together first that would suit some of these clients for retrieval augmented generation?
Yes.
Wow.
We did that. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about that platform now that you have for that. So this is available for clients to use. Obviously, anyone familiar with retrieval augmented generation, you upload your own documents, the things that LLMs are not trained on, maybe perhaps some of your customer data, et cetera, as well too. And you're able to query that and pull that together with a large language model in terms of sentiment, et cetera, to be able to give you some good results, right?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit more about that because we have been working with different industries by that time. It could be about banking because PEG is from that industry. And then we also work with lawyers, medical doctors, telco, construction engineering, retail, e-commerce, etc. So we have been working with lots of different industries. So we allow them to just upload their documents from just one document up to thousands, and the most we have been doing right now should be over 50,000 documents, right?
Wow.
And then once they have to upload them, then they can just ask the question they want, right? Why we can do that is actually like why we can build the whole system in 3 months and then allow them to upload actually unlimited documents. But right now we can see only up to 50,000 documents because we write on MongoDB Atlas and it natively supports vector search. So we build based on it. Yeah.
Excellent, Jackie. You're doing my job for me there now. You got the MongoDB plugin before I could. So I appreciate that most definitely. And tell me a little bit about, was it always MongoDB from the start for this generative AI platform, the RAG solution, or did you play around with other vector stores?
Oh, wow. That's another story. I have been using MongoDB should be back in 2013. And like before I met Peg and we work on Votee, I actually applied for jobs in MongoDB, but I got rejected.
What? How
Yes.
dare they?
And that's why we can work together and use MongoDB.
Where you go? Well, MongoDB's loss is the rest of the world's gain in terms of Votee and the startup that you two built together as well. So that goes back a long time then, Jackie, right? For use of MongoDB, because we've changed a lot since then. Yeah. So fair play to sticking with it. And obviously, you know, our vector search is a year and a half old now at this stage. So and instrumental for you to be able to build out the platform that you have today, right, for RAG?
Yes, so you can see I keep on using MongoDB, and like for the social listening, we write on MongoDB, and then when we need to build such a RAG system, we also talk to MongoDB directly, and then wow, MongoDB Atlas has the vector search support, and so we just write on it very quickly. So we should be the early adopter of this.
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah, you're one of, like I said, it's only 18 months old now since we announced it, and we had a few companies as early adopters, and you guys are certainly amongst there as well too. And it's been a great success that allows us to participate in this generative AI world basically, and we're delighted and amazed to see what customers are building on that as well too. I mentioned in the beginning that we're streaming at a different time. I'm looking at the comments coming in from Australia and Poland and Brazil and other places. So obviously this time is interesting because we're getting an audience we generally don't get in Poland as well too. So thank you all. Anybody has any questions for Jackie or Pac, please throw them into either the YouTube or the LinkedIn chat, and we'll certainly take care of those. And we are going to go through a demo. So we talked about the generative AI and the RAG. You also have a platform called Votee Magic. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I think, we're focused on building LLMs or foundational models for low resource languages. But the need also came out from companies, corporates, banks, and even governments as well, where they actually have more data than there is, for example, than online, the entire online storage. So there came a need that these companies, governments, institutions required GPT to unlock this sort of trove of data. And so we had the pain point right there, or the ask. On a separate story, Jackie and his team built the first Cantonese large language model in Hong Kong, and that process kind of also provided us with a lot of understanding of how this, building from scratch, getting data, annotating data, and training it, and so to get the LLM. So I think with those two things, we just kind of put it together and said, hey, let's build a platform. Let's call it Magic, and let's see if we can actually help the enterprises accelerate the adoption of Gen AI. And this is sort of the genesis of the idea.
Okay, interesting. And I want to separate this conversation into two, because I really want to dig down into building the Cantonese LLM in the next question, because when we think of LLMs, and the clue is in the name, they're enormous, right? And when we think of the companies that put forward LLMs, they're really, really big companies, or they're backed by billions of funding to build out these massive models and everything that's associated with that. So I'm going to touch on that in a minute. But first of all, with regards to that, what you said there, Pak, is companies had all of this data that they wanted to use but wasn't suitable for use. So that required some, it's a bunch of unstructured data, for example, that required cleaning and refactoring to make it suitable for this platform, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what was involved in that? I mean, how do you take disparate data sources and make them suitable? What sort of work, what sort of effort needed in that instance?
Well, from our side, because we have been collecting data for over a decade, so we have all the first-hand data, opinion data from the panelists, and then we also have social media data from social listening, right? So I think it's also back to last year, because when we have helped so many enterprise clients to build their generative AI applications, even it's proof of concept, it worked for them, and then they can already deploy internally. But then when they want to deploy for external users in Hong Kong, we don't just speak in English or Mandarin, but we also speak in Cantonese. And then we found out that basically all large language models outside, they will have very good support in English or standard Chinese, the written Chinese. But if it is about Cantonese, they can have a good support. And then we think if we can use our data to help to train it up. And then we actually explore different techniques, like from the most essentially the prompting techniques, or the thing we mentioned, or also about the fine tuning, but none works. And so we have to go to the we call it continual pre-training process. So we really need to pre-train a large language model to make it have the linguistic capabilities. And throughout the journey, we also find out that for the data, we actually need 3 types of data. For the first one, it would be like we need a dictionary, like a dictionary for Cantonese. And it can translate from Cantonese to English, because the foundation model originally knows English already, right? So we need such kind of dictionary. And then we also support slangs, idioms, internet terms, etc. for the dictionary. And then we also have different test corpus as the main test to do the training. And finally, we also get some conversations, like from WhatsApp group, WeChat group. And then we also got subtitles to do the chat model building. Yeah, so we need these 3 types of data.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just add one more thing, actually. So if you kind of look at that process, it's a very complex process. So as an enterprise, if you have data, they don't have that time or that focus to kind of go through that learning to kind of build their own. So I guess that's why we also found that this is a really good product market fit as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it makes sense how you could be ambitious enough to say, we're going to create a Cantonese LLM because of your social listening and the data gathering and everything you've done. But how long and how much of an effort was it then to take as you say, the dictionary, the texts, the conversations. How long did it take for you to create this Cantonese LLM?
We started to have this idea back to October last year, and then we keep on talking to different cloud providers, and also we keep on managing the data, and then finally we can release our first Cantonese LM back in June this year. So it's more than half a year.
Yeah.
8 months, I say. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms, we hear these large language models, the sizes of them, how many tokens they have, et cetera, et cetera. How does this compare? What sizes is your Cantonese LLM at the moment? And I suppose the second part is, do you continually develop and fine tune and train it even more all the time post-release?
Oh, right. So when we talk about Cantonese LLM, we can actually write on different LLM architectures. So at first, we write on Meta Llamas.
Okay.
Right? So Llama 2 7B and Llama 3.1 8B. And then we use over 1 terabytes of data to do the training, right? But then after that, we have also been writing on different architecture, including Google Gemma 2. And then also in China, they have Alibaba. Alibaba has Qianwen. So we can train the large language model on different architecture. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yes. So I know where you're sitting now. So you're leveraging the existing ones, but adding the Cantonese LLM. Is it the only Cantonese LLM that is in existence? Apologies, at the moment.
I don't think so. That we have a community. It's a Hong Kong AI research community called Hong Kong ICE, and so we have been training different Cantonese LLMs. And as I know from commercial settings, there are also a couple of Cantonese LLMs.
Okay. So, but you were probably one of the first out the door then. So, and keep looking and investing on it as well. It's really interesting. It's very ambitious to take on that. I'm delighted that you did as well too. So we spoke about social listening. We spoke about the enterprise RAG, and obviously just now on the Cantonese LLM. That's a lot of telling. Let's do a little bit of showing perhaps then, Jackie. Do you want to bring up the demos and we'll run through those? And while we're getting ready there, as I said earlier, if anyone has any questions for Jackie or Pat, please throw them into the chat. We'll see them, and if we can, we'll deal with them live on the air. We do appreciate the interactions as well too. So what are we going to see here now, Jackie? First, anyway.
Let me share the social listening first.
Sure.
Yep. So here is our social listening platform. Actually, we crawl the data mainly for Hong Kong, but for today's purpose, I still try to do the U.S. presidential election, even it's over, right? But you can
I said we weren't being controversial at all at the beginning of this live stream. And what's the demo on? Jackie, you're killing me. All right, go for it.
Yeah. So for this social listening platform, everything runs on MongoDB Atlas. Yeah, so we crawl the data, everything on MongoDB Atlas. Even for the backend, is writing. So for MongoDB, actually it is deprecating the service, but it's called app services. And also for the hosting, we all use MongoDB to deploy it. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a bit of work to do given our recent announcements, but we'll help you, right?
Yes. And then for this US presidential election, let me show you the keywords I've input for the past 1 month. You can see the channels that we have covered for social media, for forums and news here. Oh, it's 1 year. Nice. Oh, it's not just 1 month.
Okay, cool. Even better. Yeah.
Yes, agree. And then we have set up different keywords: U.S. presidential election, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, right? And then here, these are all the Chinese words
Okay.
to represent, like, this is Trump, this is Trump, this is also Trump, this is also Trump, and then this is Harris, this is Harris. Yeah, so
Okay.
we have set up everything like this, okay? And then with all this set up, then we can see the trends, right?
Okay.
And then,
Yes. Obviously, with the big spike to the more recent time, when you set this up, how, and obviously you put in your keywords and you pick your channels, etc. How long does it take to start gathering that results, and how does it do the historical things? Then is it looking at the dates of articles and posts and things like that?
right, so we actually keep crawling data, and then we keep all the records in MongoDB.
Okay.
And that's why when you create a topic, it basically select relevant posts from the database. And
Okay.
so, like for this one, it is created within a few minutes, because it doesn't have many posts, under 60,000 posts, but the engagement index is over 3 million, right? Yeah. And as we mentioned, we use AI to do the analysis, and we present it in a WH approach, right? What, where, who, where, how, right? And then you can see we have the word cloud. We know which post has the top mentions, but as you can see, they are actually the posts, like from Facebook, is in Chinese. It's not from really the United States, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can also see, like, when is the spike is. It should be on the election day, right? Yeah, on the election day.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, right? And then in Hong Kong, who will be the influencer about this? Yes. And then from which media channel will have the most influential power, right?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And then lastly is about the sentiment that we have done on every social post. So whether they're about positive or negative, or is it a mixed sentiments, or is it neutral, right? For news, usually it's neutral. Yeah. And so
To be expected. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say we can, I think we can, like, extract some mixed, because when we click on any segment, we can see the relevant post, and then we can also see
where the source was.
Yeah. And then we can use our GPT. Actually, is writing on the Cantonese LLM. So because these could be in Cantonese, right? So we understand them, and then we do the summarization, highlight the key points, and then to put out the sentiment, like why these are relevant. Yeah, and so we can gain the insights throughout this process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I saw, like, you've got the keywords, you've got the channels. Could you have also limited to geographic regions as well too, to just look in, what's the conversation in different countries?
Should be okay, but right now we are only crawling data from Hong Kong. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to add feature creep to the product live on air, but yeah, no, obviously, no problem whatsoever. That makes a ton of sense. So this example was the election, but you mentioned obviously your customers are brands, so they're using their own brand keywords or product names, etc., and trying to use the Votee platform for exactly this, right?
Yes. So actually, when we do the crawling and also about the topic analysis, we are doing a per minute update. So we can use this social listening platform to do some, like, PR crisis response, something like that. And so,
Okay, which is very powerful to be able to do that, because you can't be everywhere. So you're polling and pulling it, and if your frequency is per minute, then that's pretty much real time as far as this is concerned. I'm looking at the left-hand menu there, alerts. So what would that do for? Can you set an alert for, a brand looking for something maybe negative, etc. said about them? Is that it?
yeah, so you can select like presidential election and then the email to send to. You can choose like when it has spikes in conversations or sentiment shift, or you just need to have. Usually they will need an update in the morning, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they can set daily alert at 8 a.m.
Okay. Excellent. And across the channels there, obviously all the socials are represented. How tricky is it to keep up with the APIs and the changes and the limits and everything else across these social media channels that can break things, right?
Yes, it's very. There are lots of we call it data ops. Yeah,
Okay.
there are lots of operations thing we need to keep it up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I can imagine that's frustrating. Any of these social companies roll out something, it's like, oh no, now we've got to do a ton of work on our platform because it's all different again, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that was the social listening demo. How about the enterprise RAG one? Do we have something to show? Because I think of all of the things that we discuss on the live stream, from a particular point of view for corporate customers, I think enterprise RAG is probably the most prevalent insofar as that they can easily, quickly unlock essentially data that they wouldn't normally have used before, because as you say, it's unstructured, it's not in a right appropriate format, etc., and they can have access to that. Do we have something to show there too, Jackie?
Yes, sure. Let me share my screen again.
Sure.
It should be this one. Yep. Yeah. You can see my screen, right?
Yep, it's up there now.
Cool. Yeah, so this is our platform, as we mentioned, is for the Votee GPT, and for this one, it's called Amy. It is essentially a platform for construction engineering in Hong Kong. So let me show you something. In dashboard and then in documents, we have uploaded over thousands of documents. Could be in PDF format, could be in spreadsheet, etc.
Okay. Right.
So we upload everything, and you can see that's back in last year, right? So what kind of documents are they? They are all the the cookbook, the guidelines for the construction engineering. It could be about the civil engineering. It could be about fire safety. It could be about anything, right? So thousands of documents we have uploaded. And what we can do is to ask questions like, let's create a question, a new conversation.
Sure.
And we can set up a filter. Like in Hong Kong, we have different classification. What classification means is that like what kind of buildings do you need to build, like residential building or commercial building, or is it car park, right? So let's take car park as an example. So we can also choose different years, because the regulations and guidelines could be changing over time. And then we can ask about like how we can build the, how we can build the EV charger in the car park.
Okay.
So once we have set it, and then we can type, are there any regulations for the charger in the car park? And then it will returns about all the instructions, how we can do that. And it actually searches through these thousands of documents.
Which is very powerful, because anybody who's ever done anything with regulations or building realizes these documents and these regulations are enormous, right? And that's why I suppose there's specialists who deal in just doing these things, but now you can leverage Votee GPT for this, right?
Yes, and here is another example. What are the fire safety requirements for high-rise commercial building? So we can choose for the classification for commercial premises, and then we also choose the latest years, and then it should be about fire safety, right? And we can ask what are the fire safety requirements for a high-rise commercial building, right? And then it will again talk through all the requirements. Oh, there are over like 14 systems, installations, equipments that you should be aware of, and also like what kind of standards they need to reach, like the British standard of 476/7, etc. So this is very comprehensive, and then you just need to input your question, and then you return. Like you can see it's so quick, right?
Yeah.
And so for this rack system, we are using the MongoDB Atlas vector search.
Excellent. And just obviously before you asked the question there, you were, looking for fire regulations and commercial, etc. Is that to narrow down the RAG search, as it were, in terms of these documents in these areas, and just speed up the response? Like if you didn't pre-select those, would it still find these but might take longer?
I would say if you know about the filtering, right? Of course, it can help to improve the speed and accuracy.
Okay.
Or if you don't select it, actually the system will still work, but it may search through more documents. And if it got lost in the context, it may also hallucinate. So that's how we try to minimize the hallucination.
Okay, I think, I like that idea of filtering because, obviously one of the things, and it's always the elephant in the room, as it were, is speed and costs and performance when it comes to any of the AI tools. And obviously something like this is dedicated for, this construction industry that you've built this demo, works really well. It's if you're kind of saying, well, look, I'm only looking for these things, so I'm going to pre-filter, and then you're going to be more responsive, quicker answers, and probably, ultimately less expensive to run in the long term if there's some pre-filtering going on. Would that be correct?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, very powerful. And so MongoDB Atlas Vector Search is behind all of this. Where do you use this? Where do you upload the various documents, the PDFs, etc.? Where are they stored? What cloud provider are you using for those?
So we don't really store the original documents because when for the RAG, the retrieval augmented generation, once we got the original document, could be PDF,
you don't need them anymore. Sure.
We'll extract all the information, do the chunking, embedding, and then store into the vector search. Database. Yeah.
Great. And so as in this example, there's a now 2024 compliance regulations, etc. You just upload that and chunk that, make the embedding, store that back in Atlas Vector Search, and then it's updated. It will appear in the filter in the drop down too.
Yes.
Excellent. Look at that. That's a superb demo. I know Thomas thinks that's very useful. So people can go and like, how would you leverage this at the moment? How do you get your clients? Can you go and sign up on Votee or Votee GPT, or where would you go for this?
Well, right now we have a couple of channels. The first is, we work with existing clients, and if they have something, then we help them build, or they'll just have it as a DIY thing. And then we are also working on with channel sales as well. So the telcos, whatnot, they'll have their own clients, so we distribute that way as well too.
Okay, excellent. So if somebody is interested in becoming a client, then go to votee.ai and get the details and reach out to yourselves, right?
Pretty much, we're building out in Hong Kong, so we have a lot of reach within Hong Kong. We do have plans for outside of Hong Kong, and this next steps would be Asia and also Africa as well. So those are sort of our markets that we're gonna be reaching hopefully next year. But this year we firmly want to get Hong Kong not just right, but also improve on what we have.
Okay, excellent. And I know we spoke about the Cantonese LLM. Jackie, is there something we can show as part of a demo for how that? I know obviously the results in the social listening demo, they were there too. Is there something to show just on the Cantonese LLM, or I think you told me it was up on Hugging Face as well too? It can be obtained there.
Yes. Let me see if I can show here. So first, let me give an introduction.
Sure.
Hong Kong Eyes, which is what I've mentioned, the Hong Kong AI research community. So you can see we have built actually different Cantonese LLMs. And actually it's more than just LM. We also do the ASL, which is the automatic speech recognition, and also the TTS, the text to speech, right? So we basically, what we are trying to do here is to do open source, open data, and open. We technically we usually call it open ways, but essentially it's open models. So it's free to download, right? So why we are doing this is because Cantonese is we call it low resource language, which means we don't have enough online data for this language. So there are over 6,000 human languages in the world, but maybe only top 10 languages like English, they're high resource languages. So for other languages, they don't have enough data. But like in Asia, in Middle East, in Africa, we have the most abundance of human languages. And so we are trying to build up the community so that we share everything we have to build the data set and also to build the large language model so that we can capture both the language and culture using the AI.
Okay, that makes sense. So, I mean, anybody building anything in the AI space is used to Hugging Face. So I had the banner up there about where you'll go and find this. You can see it there as well too. And obviously you can look at the various spaces. You mentioned Africa was a potential for you guys in the future. You got a request or an offer to help out come through in the chat while you were talking. So Toheeb is happy to help if you branch out into Africa and look at some of those languages as well too.
Yeah, so actually for Africa, thanks. So for Africa, we are also helping them to build their educational AI, so that the conversational AI can help the secondary school students there to study their subjects. Yeah, we are also helping them to build that.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
Is it Botswana?
Yeah, Botswana.
Yeah, it's in Botswana. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. That sounds good. Well, look, that was great to go through the demos. As I said throughout, anyone has any questions, do throw them in the chat. Is there anything that I didn't cover with both of you, Jackie or Pak? Is there anything that we missed out? I know we got a couple of plugs in from MongoDB, so I do appreciate that. I didn't have to force any of those with yourselves. We've had gone through obviously the social listening, the enterprise RAG, the Cantonese LLM. Anything else that I suppose one of the questions that I always ask, particularly of founders, and particularly in the AI space, is it's moving so fast. Things are kind of progressing so quickly. Every week or two you hear of new models, et cetera, et cetera. How do you both keep up with the pace of development in this space now?
Well, I mean, I think you're right. You hit on a really good problem, which is there's so much development going on. So I think you have to kind of lean on a few principles to kind of see where you want to go and what you want to develop. And one of the principles are, is there is there a use case for that? Are we solving anything for that? If it's not, but it's just cool, then we'll probably put in the back burner. So that's the first one. And two is, we also have sort of an opinion on what if something makes sense. So I think, by having these two principles, we think the next big thing is going to be more agentic things that can actually solve certain productivity bottlenecks. So I used to work in a corporate, the matrix system, and exactly where bottlenecks kind of lie. You talk to people, you talk to customers, and pain points kind of come up, and you kind of see, is this the way? So I think if you rely on these principles and having our own sort of thought process, agentic is going to be something that we're going to be a little bit more focused on. Under resource language is a big thing in itself. So I think that, with a small team, I think, you just want to focus on just pick a few battles.
Pick a few battles. I think certainly the agentic future is the future that we're promised, right? I mean, there's a meme, I didn't want AI to be able to create pictures and write poems. I want AI to do the dishwasher and the washing for me, so I can make pictures and write poems, right? So, and the agentic piece, as you said there, Pak, is to take care of more of the mundane tasks, perhaps, or more of the bottlenecks, as you mentioned, but with a level of reasoning, with a level of kind of, from a developer's perspective, bug fixing or, understanding as well too. And I, for one, very much look forward to that because, we mentioned at the beginning, public knowledge of AI is less than 2 years old, perhaps, but we're still very, very early in this space, right? What excites you the most, other than the agentic side of things? Is there anything else that you see coming down the tracks that might be a few years away?
For me, I think I'm excited about what we are currently tackling, which is the low resource language economy. And we built the Cantonese one, and you just see the pain points that are unlocking. So we're a service. Hong Kong is a service sector, and if you kind of look at certain sectors, you'll see that they're mainly staffed by older people who only speak Cantonese, and all that kind of stuff will never be solved unless you actually have that's localized to them. So I think that kind of like opening up new verticals and kind of say, hey, that actually works. You're just looking at old problems in a sort of new lens, and that kind of excites me, at least for me.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, we tend, and look, I'm biased. Obviously, I'm based in Ireland, speak English. Most coding looks like quasi English as well too. But I'm very lucky in that respect. It's not, it's not strange to me. But yeah, I think that's really important because we tend to think that we'll push all of these tools and everything else, and English will necessarily be the de facto use case, but it just isn't. As you said, there's hundreds of languages in the world, and a lot of knowledge. Go back to the knowledge-based thing that Rag appreciated, and a lot of knowledge tapped up into those languages as well too. So yeah, I think that's a nice, almost altruistic thing to have as well too, right, Pak? It's like, this is a problem that exists. Let's try and see how do we solve it for the the betterment of the folks that might need it, right? Let's not push them towards just using this and having to learn this solution. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Anything on your side, Jackie? What excites you most about AI, etc.? And I'm not going to ask the AI apocalypse, etc. overlord question that generally gets asked, because I just don't believe that that's a thing. I think AI is here to do the stuff that we want it to do and hopefully help us.
Yeah, actually, I don't believe in the dystopian view either. So I'm more into the so-called effective accelerationism. So right now we can see AI is actually helping us more and more, right? Starting from ChatGPT, helping us to generate reports, right? To as Pat said, more agentic. So as you can see, last year we have been building the rack system for enterprises, and this year we have been building Cantonese LLM and also starting to support other low resource languages, and also we are moving to the agentic AI. So why it is effective accelerationism is because I can't stop it. So if I can't beat it, then I join it.
Yeah, that's a good reason as anything, and certainly, when it comes to the point at which you're happy to share some of the stuff you're doing in the agentic space, I'll happily get you both back on the live stream with me, because I'd love to see what you're building there. I'm super impressed with what you've managed to build already across. Any final words from a perspective of founding Votee? And it's a leap of faith, right? As you said, Pak, you were in a bank and came out and back in and then back out. So it's a leap of faith to found any company. You're betting on your own vision. You're betting on the people that you bring into the company with you. Any words of wisdom as founders?
For me, maybe, building a startup is obviously very hard. And I think one wisdom that I'd probably tell future founders or existing founders is to show up every day. It's almost like every day you just improve on a little bit. And over time, you'll see that. For us, it was over a decade. But I think, the past 1 year has been such an acceleration towards adoption and finding sort of our mission, or clarifying that. I think that was very helpful. So show up every day, improve a little bit. I think that would be my sort of food for thought.
Excellent. Good answer, Pak. Jackie, your thoughts on being a founder?
Well, Pat and I have been, together for over a decade. There are lots of ups and downs. To me, I think persistence and being persevere is very important. We have times that we can see there is a future, right? So just keep working. Yeah. Working is more important than thinking at that time. But when things getting better, now let's keep on coming in. Then I think for us, we should free up our time to think for how or what we should do best next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to be better able to think about the direction that you're going in and the problems to solve as well too. I suppose the thing I would add to that is going back to where you two met. So keep yourselves open-minded as founders. Go to hackathons, even if you're not a developer, right? Pack, turn up. Who knows what might happen? So that's another nugget. I think luck plays a big part in startups and in founders and team building, etc. as well too. So going back to what you said, Jackie, perseverance is really, really crucial from the founders that I talk to as well too. This has been superb. It's been enlightening to see the journey, see everything that you've gone through, to figure out that you're looking, and the fact that you looked for the low resource languages and built your own Cantonese LLM alone is stunning, let alone the social listening and enterprise RAG products that you've built. So I wish both of you and Votee nothing but every success in the future, and I will get you back. That's a promise on the live stream on that. Let me throw up some links as banners for folks who want to learn a little bit more. So Votee.one, ONE, one spelt out for the social listening piece, that right? And then, as we had up earlier, if you want to go to Hugging Face and search for the Cantonese LLM, you'll find it there and see the spaces that have been created. And then finally, then Votee.ai for everything else. Is that correct?
Yep.
Perfect. And a little plug for MongoDB, and what most of the folks on our developer relations team put their output appears on as articles and tutorials. Go to developer.mongodb.com. It would be remiss of me not to put that out there. You'll find plenty of articles on Atlas Vector Search there as well too, linking to repos, linking to things that allow you to get started really quickly. And should you have any questions at all, we have a very vibrant and active community as well to go to and put your questions there. And our community, and indeed some of our product managers and engineers, spend a lot of time on community.mongodb.com looking at what people are saying. So But for me, that's been a superb episode. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Pak. It's been a pleasure to have you both on and to go through everything. I love the vision. I love what you're both doing. And I love the enthusiasm which you have to do it. So it's been great. Any last words for our listeners?
Thank you. I mean, thanks for having us, and I look forward in joining your podcast again.
Yeah, I'll hold you to that one now, Pak. Definitely. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure to have you both. Thank you so much for the conversation. Thank you for everybody who tuned in at this slightly different time than we usually stream. Do check out most Tuesdays, most Thursdays, MongoDB are streaming on YouTube and LinkedIn. But for me now, Shane McAllister, and from Pak and Jackie, thank you so much to everybody. It's been a pleasure to chat to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.